Matthew 6. Take heed that ye do not your alms before men to be seen of them, otherwise ye have no reward of your Father which is in heaven. Therefore, when thou doest thine alms, do not sound a trumpet before thee, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may have glory of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But when thou doest alms, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth, that thine alms may be in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret himself shall reward thee openly. And when thou prayest, thou shalt not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray, standing in the synagogues, and in the corners of the streets, that they may be seen of men. And verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. But when ye pray, use not vain repetitions, as the heathen do, for they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking. Be not ye therefore like unto them. For your Father knoweth what things ye have need of, before ye ask him. After this manner therefore pray ye. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Haya, Shemka. Yahweh Malakwithka, Daba'a Ratazaka, Haya, Aisha, Ba'arataza. Kawa, Haya, Bashemayim. Nathan Lanawa, Lakam, Kal Yawam, Wasalak Lanawa, Kawabwat Nawa, Kasalak Nawa, Kawabwati Nawa, Wala'a, Dabaya Nawa, Banasayawan, Abal, Haushai Nawa, Mayan, Rai Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwat, Waha'ala, Wahatapa Arath, La'aiwalamium, Aman.
After this manner therefore pray ye. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven.
All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Kakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers. And peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah. Pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners who may have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. All right. And what I want to get into today, is dealing with, teach and retreat and trust not many, with certain, happiness that's going on amongst the body, the way, that the world is in general. All right. We have to, have the mindset, that was in Yahweh Shai. Matter of fact, let's get straight to some precepts. Okay. And we'll expound as we go. When you go here to I'm gonna get this in the new NLT. All right. So when you go here to the book of Philippians, okay, the the second chapter, okay, Philippians 2:1. All right. I started Philippians 2:1. This is NLT. It says, is there any encouragement from below? belonging to Yahweh love, are your hearts tender and compassionate? Then make me truly happy by agreeing wholeheartedly with each other, loving one another, and working together with one mind and one purpose. Don't be selfish. Don't try to impress others. Be humble, thinking of others as better than yourselves. Don't look out only for your own interests, but take the interest in others too. You must have the same attitude that Yahweh Shai had. Okay? And going into the same attitude that Yahweh Shai had, all right, we will have to study Yahweh Shai, which he comes in the volume of the book, but as we go into the Gospels and study his accounts and how he moved, all right, during his ministry, we should do the same, because, when you're an athlete, you say you're a wide receiver, a quarterback, well, what do? You study the great, people that played their position, you listen to their interviews, okay, you listen to their coaching, okay, you watch their videos, you study film on them, okay, because you want to be great at their position. So you'll study people that was great in their position, okay. So as we are prophets, okay, well, the prophet of prophets is Yahweh Shai. We have to study Yahweh Shai to have that same attitude that Yahweh Shai had, how he moved, and these, when you go into it, verse 3 says, don't be selfish, don't try to impress others. Yahweh Shai wasn't here to put on the show. He had spiritual powers, and that spiritual powers was to give glory to the Father. It wasn't for him to put on the show, and we have, a form of spiritual power is understanding his words, understanding these mysteries, and it's not to put on the show or to impress others, it's to edify the elect, and Yahweh Shai was given those powers with responsibility. He had to have great restraint to be able to manage, those powers that he had, man. Because he let it be known that he can call down legions, okay, and end the Roman Empire, okay, the snap of a finger. But he had to be faithful to, all right, his mission. There wasn't the mission to end the Roman Empire. Call down angels and end the Roman Empire. That wasn't the mission you know. So he had that great power, but he had great restraint. So one of the attributes of Yahweh Shai, he had great restraint, man. Because we have access to particular things as we teach this word, and channels get traffic, and particular things. We have access to particular things, but there's a great restraint that we should have. Okay, because that's not the mission. We shouldn't get caught up on side missions, man. Because we're not here in impress mode. We're here in the mode to edify. Okay, it says be humble, thinking of others as better than yourselves, man. Humility, all right, concerned with the well-being of the church, of the body, you know, making sure we on point so we can be on point for the church, for the body, man. In all humility, man. Not needing to praise, not needing to shake the church down for money, for filthy lucre, and feel like the church is entitled to us. No, we're entitled to Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, and we're serving the Lord, being a servant to the church, man. We're indebted to the Lord. No one's indebted to us. Okay. It said, don't look, all right, only for your own interest, but take an interest in others too. You must have the same attitude that Yahweh Shai had. Okay. So when you go into Yahweh Shai, all right, let's go here. Yahweh Shai dealt a lot in solitude, what you call solitude, solitary. Okay. So when you go to when you go here to, all right, just a quick Google AI overview. Okay. It says Yahweh Shai frequently practiced, because I asked precepts of Yahweh Shai isolating himself. All right. It says Yahweh Shai frequently practiced isolating himself to pray and spend time with the Most High. This was a recurring pattern. Evidenced by him withdrawing to desolate places, mountains, or even in his room to pray in solitude. He also practiced this for preparation and spiritual fortification, as seen in his 40 days of fasting and temptation in the wilderness. All right. Now, when you go here, just to go into more depth, it says prayer and solitude. It says Yahweh Shah will often seek out desolate places or mountains to pray, allowing him to focus solely on the Most High without distractions. The wilderness was a place of testing, reflection, and divine encounter, and Yahweh Shah spent time there in solitude, fasting, and being tempted by Satan, man. So Yahweh Shah, he spent a lot of time in solitude, man. And like I say, I know the Book of Clarence was was a spoof, and it had jokes, and you know, um, it wasn't, a thing. It wasn't a very serious movie, but if you look at it in the spirit for what it is, and you see Jake playing Jake and Esau playing Esau, it's a good visual, and the dynamic that they had Yahweh Shai in, he was there. They spoke about him, but you didn't see him all the time. And even one time in the Book of Clarence, they asked, okay, where, is they asked where the Messiah was at, and his disciples told him, he went off to pray to the Father. He wasn't around the disciples. They was together, like in the loft in the lear. They was together reading the scrolls and studying. But when Clarence and them asked about Yahweh Shai, they were like, look, he's off praying to the Father, man. So they'll just, in the spirit, you take it for what it is. It gave a good visual of how Yahweh Shai was around, but he wasn't around. He would pop up and do a miracle, and he'd dip out, and we'll get, these accounts to show that, man. I might have to watch that movie again. If you young in the faith, all right. But if you know what it is, man, it's a good visual. It says, it says, the wilderness was a place of testing, reflection, and divine encounter. And Yahweh Shah spent time there in solitude, fasting, all right, and being tempted by Satan. He also went to mountaintops to pray, further emphasizing the importance of seeking the Most High in solitude, man. And in this truth, man, we have to have a level of solitude, man. And we have to separate from everything, everyone, and really tap in with Yahweh Bashim Shah. Because this is what Yahweh Shah did, man. He would leave off. He was very, he became famous. Those miracles and his teachings, and you see, he became famous, man. You see, but he would dip off from the crowd, okay, and have the solitude time with the Heavenly Father, man. And this is what we have to do, man, daily to a certain degree. And then there's some times where we just go on retreats, man. We go on fast and cleanses, and separate from the world, man. You're not out like that. You're not on the scene. You just tapped in. And that's how Yahweh Shah would do. Okay, so as we teach, as we have these platforms, we teach. But when the camera's off, man, hey, we should be in the spirit of retreating, as Yahweh Shah would do. Okay, being solitude, man. Okay, because remember, this is a temporal situation, and we're being built up to endure the hour of temptation, which is going to lead to rest forever, man, to glory forever. So this is temporal. We can't have the mindset like we missing out on something. If the Lord don't give it to me, I'm not missing out on nothing. Okay, if the Lord doesn't hand it to me, because one thing about it, if it's for us, the Lord gonna make it be in our situation, man. Okay, so we can't have a mindset like we're missing out on something. We're not missing out on anything. We got this truth. We have everything. Okay, so we can't have a mindset like we're missing out. A lot of Jake get pulled back into the world because they think that they're missing out on something. We're not missing out on anything. We got everything, man. Food, raiment, clothing, daily bread. Okay, plus the Lord give us, a few of our wants. All right. So we're not missing out on anything, man. All right. Hey, the real life starts in the kingdom, man. This is a prelude. Okay. It says Yahweh Shah taught his followers to go to their room and close the door to pray privately, emphasizing the importance of personal communion with the Most High. The gospel describes this practice as a consistent habit, demonstrating the importance of regularly prioritizing time for prayer and spiritual reflection. Now, when you get into this word solitude and the meaning, Okay. That's the spirit. Get this precept real quick, and it goes right into solitude. All right, this is the brother GMS the Moines too. This is Proverbs 18:1. It said, through desire a man having separated himself, seeking and in the middle with all wisdom, man. It said through desire, okay? Because first it has to be a desire for Yahweh Bashim Al Shah to really come after him, man. As Israelite men, this is the only thing we should be chasing, man. The only thing we should be chasing is Yahweh Bashim Al Shah, okay? But it has to be a desire in us, okay, to make us chase Yahweh Bashim Al Shah, to make us separate ourselves from this world and give ourselves more and more to Him. It has to be a desire there, man. Okay, just like these men that go to the league and to these guys that really tap in, to these sports, man. It's a time that they separate themselves from everyone, man. They give themselves wholly to their craft, man. Okay. So in the spirit, as Apostle Paul say, these men do it for a corruptible crown, man. For NBA legacy that's not forever. That's gonna fade away. When the scriptures say the works therein shall be, burnt as well. Okay, going into Second Peter. Well, guess what? All the works these men put in to get into, the league, the NBA, to become an entrepreneur, whatever they've done. Guess what? All that's going to be done away with this age. That's a corruptible crown. See, we're doing these things for something that's incorruptible, man. Legacies that are going to last forever. So we're separating ourselves for legacies that's going to last forever, man. And we got to think about it from their perspective. All right. It says, seek it and intermeddle with all wisdom, man. Really tapping into wisdom, man. Going into it, man. And we're kings. If a brother can put that, I think that's Proverbs 25:2, 25:1. Baruch Shah. But if we call ourselves, wanting to be kings, okay, well, there's a certain attribute that we should have as king, and that's we should be in the middle with wisdom, man. We should know how things around us function, man. Because the only way to truly oversee something and rule it in balance is to understand how it works. Okay. So that's why we study ancient rulerships, ancient rulers, and we get into the herbs, brothers get into, how the body works, brothers get into, economy and these different things. Okay. All these things are incorporated into the wisdom, man. And we're talking about being rulers, man. A prince, when you understand a prince spent most of his time, okay, being tutored. All right. He spent most of his time learning skills and being tutored. Okay. When you go to someone that was a prince, man, because he was being prepared, all right, for him to rule after his father, man. So his whole life was in preparation, all right, for him, all right, to be the next king. So he was fully dedicated. A good king will have his son, his prince, his heir, all right, in the middle with all wisdom. He will be separated from everyone else and in the middle with all wisdom, man. Even if your father is not a king, if your father was a man of nobility, a man of substance, and you had to take on his inheritance, guess what? You will be, all right, tutored. Okay. That's why I said that in Galatians, how the law was like a schoolmaster unto us, man. Let's go into this. Let's see, does it give us something on that word? Schoolmaster. Hold on. Let's get this real quick. Solitude. Then we'll try to find that. So you go into the word solitude. Okay. It says solitude. Oh yeah. Yep. It says the state, all right, or situation of being alone. All right. And when you go to these synonyms, it says loneliness. All right. It says remoteness. All right. Isolation, seclusion. All right. When it's all in peace. Okay. Privacy. Okay. There's the word seclusion. See what it. All right. It says the state of being private and away from other people. Okay, to retreat. Here we go. Yep, the word retreat. You see, withdrawal, concealment, secrecy, quietness. Okay, and that's what Yahweh Shai, he would teach, and then he would seclude himself, man. Okay, as we're gonna get these accounts. All right. Well, let's go to this here. Okay, so try to get this real quick in Proverbs 25. All right, and this is Proverbs 25:2. It says, "It is the Most High's privilege to conceal things, and the king's privilege to discover them." Man, you know. So as men, all right, we're being, conditioned, all right, and groomed to be joint heirs with Yahweh Shai. Okay, we should be consumed with our purpose, man. And that's to find things out, search things out, man. Knowing how things work around us, man. Knowing how we work, man. All right. The reason of men, studying, behavior patterns, like just tapping in is so much wisdom to tap into, man. To where we should be constantly occupied in this, man. So let's go here. Let's get some accounts real quick. This is the book of Matthew. All right. I still got it in the NLT. So this is Matthew 14 and 13 in the NLT. All right. And it says, as soon as Yahweh Shai heard the news, which was on John, all right, John the Baptist was beheaded. All right. It says he left in a boat to a remote area to be alone. Okay. Going back to remoteness, going back to solitary. All right. And it says, but the crowds heard where he was headed and followed on foot. All right, from many towns, so they would follow Yahweh Shai, man. You had to follow him, man. Okay, Yahweh Shai saw the huge crowd as he stepped from the boat, because he dipped off to be alone, but the crowds followed. And he had compassion on them and healed their sick, so it was a balance, he would have compassion on people and he would heal, he would do miracles, all right, and then he would always dip off. All right, he said that evening the disciples came to him and said, this is a remote place and it's already getting late. Send the crowds away so that they can go to the villages and buy food, all right, for themselves. But Yahweh Shai said, that isn't necessary. You feed them. But we have only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, they answered. It says, bring them here, he said. Then he told the people to sit down on the grass. Yahweh Shai took the 5 loaves and 2 fish, looked up toward heaven and blessed them. Then breaking the loaves into pieces, he gave the bread to the disciples who distributed to the people. And this is spiritual, okay? Because this is, you hear brothers, going to the term on breaking bread, okay? And in the spirit is Yahweh Shai. He has distributed, portions of understanding to each brother. And then each brother distributes, that understanding to the church, man. Okay, to the believers, and his bread is constantly, his bread can never run out. Okay, that's why they even had leftovers. Okay, after this miracle, man, because this bread, the portion that the Lord has given to his disciples, the prophets in this time, all right, that bread never runs out, man. That's why we're able to constantly just feed according to the portion that the Lord gave each brother. And each brother is able to distribute their portion to the people, man, continually, man. Okay, and it says they all ate as much as they wanted. Like today, you can watch as many videos as you want. You don't even get to watch all the videos you want, man. You pretty much gotta, kind of choose. Like, okay, certain things get left out, man. There's no way you can consume all this, this information and knowledge that's coming, okay, out, man. You just gotta kind of pick your portion, and then eat your daily bread in the spirit. Okay, it says they all ate as much as they wanted, and afterward, the disciples picked up 12 baskets of leftovers, man. 12 tribes. He says about 5,000 men were fed that day, in addition to all women and children. Immediately after this, Yahweh Shai insisted, it says immediately after this, Yahweh Shai insisted that his disciples get back into the boat and cross to the other side of the lake while he sent the people home. After sending them home, he went up into the hills by himself to pray. Night fell. All right. It said night fell while he was there alone, man. So Yahweh Shai did this great miracle, man. And he didn't sit there and bask in the praise of the people. It said immediately, okay, he left and went to the other side. All right, got away from the people. And then he even got away from the disciples and went to himself to pray, man. You know? So solitude was a major part of how Yahweh Shai, dealt, amongst Israel, even amongst the disciples. At times he would, he would separate. Okay, then sometimes he would take a few disciples with him and separate, and that's how Yahweh Shai moved, man. Okay, hey, as brothers, we're separated, we're secluded from everyone, and then it's time, it's time for each brother to break off, all right, and do their thing by themselves, man. Working out their own salvation. Then we join back. Okay, we're not a little secluded. Okay, because we're in the time now to keep circles extremely small, man. This ain't the time to be meeting new people, which we're gonna, get into that, man. Okay, but just studying, all right, how Shai was moving. You get this real quick in the book of Mark. Okay, chapter 1, verse 35. All right, it says before daybreak the next morning. So Yahweh Shai will be up early, even before the sun came up. Yahweh Shai got up and went out to an isolated place to pray. Okay, he was always isolating himself, man. There was a lot of time that he spent with him and the Father, man. Okay, in the midst of his ministry, man, he would be secluded and separate himself unto the Father, man. And we need those retreats. We need those spiritual retreats, man. You do a 7-day cleanse and really just tap into reading more and praying more. Hey, we need that. We need that recharge, man, to deal with this world, man, to keep a hedge on us, hedge on our families, man. Hey, we need that isolation, man. Okay, let's go here to the book of St. John. All right. St. John chapter 6. All right, in verse 14, it says, when the people saw him do this miraculous sign, they exclaimed, surely he is the prophet. Going back to Deuteronomy 18 and 15. All right, the prophet that Moses was speaking about, okay, is with Yahweh Shai. It says, surely he is the prophet we have been expecting. Surely he is the prophet that we have been expecting, man. So the people like, this is him. Okay, when Yahweh Shai saw that they were ready to force him to be their king, he slipped away into the hills by himself. Okay, by himself. Okay, so when Yahweh Shai saw that they were ready to make him king, showing you it wasn't his time. Okay, he's coming back as the King of Kings. Okay, it's not our times to be looked at, all right, as these great, regal, royal, these pompous. No, it ain't time for that, man. When Yahweh Shai comes back as the King of Kings, he's going to show who his joint heirs are, man. Okay, right now, hey, we should be in this spirit, man. Hey, retreating, because the internet will hype you up and have you thinking you're bigger than what you are, man. All right, as we've seen, a lot of men have fell victim to the internet hype, man. Okay, and we see what that road leads to. Okay, nah, man. So Yahweh Shai, he knew what was on Jake's mind. He slipped away into the hills by himself, man. Okay, and I say Jake will hype you up and have you thinking that you way more than what you are, man. You trying to live up to that, and you get caught in that trap and be snared, man. All right, this is the book of Luke. One more account. All right, this is the book of Luke, chapter 6, verse 6. It says, on another Sabbath day, a man with a deformed right hand was in the synagogue while Yahweh Shai was teaching. the teachers of religious law and the Pharisees watched Yahushua closely. If he healed the man's hand, they planned to accuse him of working, all right, on the Sabbath. But Yahushua knew their thoughts. He said to the men he said to the men with the deformed hand, come and stand in front of everyone. So the man, all right, came forward. Then Yahushua said to his critics, I have a question for you. Does the law permit good deeds on the Sabbath, or is it a day for doing evil? It is a day to save life or to destroy it. He looked around them one by one and then said to the man, hold your hand. I said, hold out your hand. So the man held out his hand and it was restored. So he cut these wicked scribes, these wicked scribes and Pharisees, okay, about the Sabbath, because he says, is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath? All right, or the day for doing evil, to save life or destroy it. Okay, that's why, we teach on the Sabbath, because there's no law against doing good on the Sabbath. Okay, so the Yahweh Shai, cut them because them niggas were evil. Them niggas were wicked. All right. So every day, niggas, so here it is. Is it lawful for me to do good? Because you niggas do evil on the Sabbath. Okay. So he was always, confounding them, man. As we get on here and teach and we confound the naysayers. Okay. And it says he looked around at them one by one and then said to the man, hold out your hand. So the man held out his hand and it was restored. And this, the enemies of Yahushua were wild with rage and began to discuss what to do with him. Okay. One day soon afterward, Yahushua went up, all right, on a mountain to pray, and he prayed to the Most High all night, man. Okay. So he prayed to the Heavenly Father all night, and this was right before he chose his 12 disciples, man. Okay, because verse 13 tell you at daybreak, after he prayed all night, he called together all his disciples and chose 12 of them to be apostles. All right. So here are their names. So it goes into the apostles, the disciples. So before he chose a disciple, before he will make big decisions, man, he will retreat and tap in with the Father, man. King David, man. He would tap in to Yahweh Bashem Shah before he made big decisions, man. He would be linked in prayer. Okay. And this is the spirit that we're in. All right. It's the spirit that we should be in, man. Speaking to myself first and foremost, man, just imitating Yahweh Shah as much as possible, man. And it's needed, So going from there, all right, let's go to, oh yeah, and that was shared. Let's go here. Okay. Let's go here because we're not in the spirit. It's a lot of, weirdos out here. There's a lot of, people with, agendas. All right. Even survival mode. Okay. We got to take all these things into consideration, man. It's a lot of people that's not ingenuous, man. That's ingenuous. It's not genuine. Okay. It's a lot of people that's not sincere. Okay. And they've been watching and they pick up on the lingo and they, come around like they down. There's a lot of people that's not really down like that. That's why the hour temptation gonna prove who really with it. Okay, but leading up to that time, man, it's gonna be a lot of imposters and fakes, and so we're not here. All right, we're not in the business of making new friends, man. We keeping the circle small, man, because if someone hasn't been proven real time, all right, damn the comment board. If someone that hasn't been proven real time, man, they can't be trusted, man. Okay, and the Lord has enough men, people around us that have been proven real time, like we should be good, man. Okay, so when you go here to this is and then we'll segue to that. This is the book of Sirach, all right, 39:1. It says, but he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High and is occupied in the meditation thereof will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient and be occupied in prophecies, man. You know, so we're supposed to be occupied in these things, man. You know, we're men of true purpose, man, and there's so much to be occupied in, man. So much to learn because we've been stripped from everything, man, and we live in a society that dumbed us down, man. Okay, had us just chasing vanity, all right, had us, very ignorant to true wisdom, to life, you know. So we have a lot that in this grace period, the Lord's allowing us to get back, man, and we should be occupied in these things, man. You know, we should be constantly upgrade ourselves in the spirit, man. Occupied in these things, man. Meditating on these things, man. Applying this wisdom, all right, real time. Okay. It says on verse 2, it says, he will keep the sayings of the renowned men, and just living by these words, man. Like I say, we got a lot of forefathers that are great role models for us on how we should be, how we should move. Like we go into the book of Tobit. Okay, you go to Daniel, see how men was solid, man. Joseph, okay. Of course, Yahweh Shai without saying, man, because he's the volume of the book. Because everything is under the umbrella of Yahweh Shai, these great men. Okay, so we have, righteous, all right, examples of how to be. Eleazar, okay, those 7 Hebrew brothers, man, because we're going to need something to refer to. See, we have a culture, okay, that we can reference in these times, all right, that we're coming into. Okay, being a nigga in these times, okay, you're not going to have anything to draw from. All right, being a goddamn feminist, a woman, you're not gonna have anything to draw from, man. A little ratchet, nigga woman, you're not gonna have any reference to draw from, man. But as we look through the scriptures and we go through this history of our forefathers, and a few of our foremothers, man, that was solid, man. We have a reference to draw from in these times. Okay, it says, and where subtle parables are, he will be there also, man. And then the Bible is so full of it's so full of life lessons, man. There's so many life lessons, even in the parables, man. Like you really understand the parables and you go into Eastern customs, and really get into these parables, man. It's full of life knowledge, man, that we can apply right now. That will put us in a better place, man. That will put us, all right, that will produce peace in our situation, more structure in our situation, man. Keep us out of the mix of foolishness, man. Okay, by applying these things, man. Okay, and it says he will seek out the secrets of grave sentences and be conversant in dark parables, man. Okay, and what is this leading to, man? Because like I say, this Bible has so many mysteries, man, and to say that it's the privilege of a king to search these things out. It's the privilege of the Most High to conceal a thing, but he gave us the Holy Spirit to be able to go search these things out, man. As we're being groomed to be kings, he gave us the privilege to be able to go search these things out, man. So there's a labor that's involved, man. And occupied in this, man, by default, hey, we're going to be in solitude, man, separated from the world, occupied in this, man. Verse 4, it says, he shall serve among great men and appear before princes. He will travel through strange countries, for he have tried, all right, the good and evil among men. Okay, experience, man. And see, what we're doing is leading us to appear before princes, man. Hey, to have a spot amongst those, all right, that's going to be joint heirs with Yahweh Shai, man. As it says in Isaiah 32. Okay, let's get there real quick. With the build up to that, man, hey, we really gotta get down for these crowns, man. Like we gotta be isolated to a degree, man. It's certain times, you come out of isolation to kick it, and then you go right back in. You see? Well, better enjoy, the time you do got. All right, damn, somebody complaining about you not spending time. You wasting time. You better be enjoying the time. If I come out of isolation to spend time, All right, and you complaining, shit. You wasting a little time I do got complaining. Say by the time you get through fussing, I'm going back into isolation, man. You know. So let's go here. Uh Isaiah 32:1. Listen, in the NLT, it said, "Look, a righteous king is coming, Yahweh Shai, and honest princes will rule under him." The joint heirs, man. Okay, and those are the men that's constantly isolating themselves and tapping in. That's who's going to be those princes under him, man. Those men that are isolating themselves from this world and tapping in. Okay, so let's go from here because I want to get this. All right, because I say we're not in time, just be meeting new people and all this social media, Israelites, and just all these randoms. Y'all just coming together because under the banner of Shalom, and you don't know this person. Man, we on to something else. Okay, we moving different. All right, times have changed. The world is worse. Okay, there's a lot of I say imposters. With fringes and head wraps, man. And we gotta be very mindful, man. Okay, this is Sirach 6:6. It says, "Be in peace with many." Okay, because it's not a personal thing. It's not nothing personal, man. Okay, I just don't know you. That's how we got to move, man. It ain't nothing personal. I don't know you. Okay, and it's just what it is, man. All right, you're not just trying to do these random fellowships with people just because they know they Israelites and be in all these different groups on Facebook and Instagram. That's why it's good not to be on it, man. On all these different, you got 7 or 8 social media platforms, all these different groups and these random people that you don't know, man. Nah, man. It's good to not be known like that, man. Okay, we known by who the Lord wants us to be known by. All right, and that's mainly the elect. All right, now we're known by people, bug outs and different people that know us, man. Okay, but we shouldn't be they shouldn't have access to us like that, man. Okay, so we're at peace with many. Ain't no, it ain't no hard feelings, no grudge. We just don't know you. So we don't know you. Then hey, it's a different protocol from people we know and people we don't know. Okay, it's a totally different protocol, man. Okay, you've been watching and it's good. Keep watching. May you and your household be delivered, man. Okay, but I still don't know you. You see, it says, "Be in peace with many, nevertheless have but one counselor of 1,000." Man. Okay, we're not here. Hey, we're not here to be an open book where everyone knows what's going on. Okay, like the social media, so everyone knows every move that you're making, man. Nah, man, we're not here for that, man. Okay, we're not here, to be on Front Street as far as putting our business out like that, man. We on Front Street to teach this word, you know. And hey, whoever get it, get it. If you don't, you don't. Okay, but nevertheless, all right, nevertheless, have but one counselor of 1,000, man, which keep your circle small, man. And all right, even amongst the camp, there's only certain, you don't tell every brother everything, man. Okay, certain brothers are gonna be more privy to certain situations, man. Some are not. Okay, verse 7 says, "If thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first, and be not hasty to give him credit." If thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first, and be not hasty to give him credit, man. So if you haven't been proven, it's me speaking on how I'm moving, but if you haven't been proven, I don't trust you, man. Okay? If you haven't been proven real time in real life, all right, we don't have true history, okay, then I don't trust you, man. You see? If you're not in the time to just be trusting every shalom, okay? Everyone that's been on the comment board, we don't know what's on the other side of these comment board, man. Which of course there's a lot of sincere brothers, few sincere sisters on the comment board. Okay? There's also bug outs and weirdos on the comment board too. Weirdos have been around for a while. That's why certain things happen. And you be like, man, this brother been watching for a while. This sister been around for a while. Or something get, the spirit to have something get called out, and then they just bug out, man. Go crazy, man. Like, damn, you been around this long and you bug out the whole time. Okay, and this is why we not in that spirit of unity camps and community. Nah, man. I definitely don't want to be around niggas, man. Okay. But going from there, let's get this in the book of Sirach 19:4. Okay, and this is wisdom to live by, man. We coming to some times, man. All right, what you're gonna get. 2 Timothy 3. All right, this is the book of Sirach 19:4 says, "He that is hasty to give credit is light-minded." Okay, and that's a very simple way to move. Being hasty, to give people credit. Nah, man, hey, people gotta be proven, and it takes time, and they gotta be proven in real time, man. You know, so we're not here to be hasty to give credit. Make it seem like these guys, give people passes, and like they straight. Like, nah, man, you gotta be proven real time. Okay, and it says, "And he that sinneth shall offend against his own soul." Okay, but the main point is that we're not in the time to be hasty to give credit, because these are the times that we are in. Okay, let's go here. Like I said, we get ready to close out here, man. I just want to go into this. All right, there's certain events are unfolding. Like we entering a different time. All right, and we know, all right, that we're going to be hated. All right, for the names. All right, of Yahweh Shema Shai and what we teach. Okay, this is 2 Timothy 3:1. It says, "You should know this, Timothy, that in the last days there will be very difficult times, man. Coming into some hard times, man. Okay, and we're finna see the world go into survival mode, man. It's gonna be some very disingenuous people. Okay, they use their grace period to do what the hell they want to do, to rebel, to indulge in the beast, and they think, they're gonna snap into it, okay, and be good. Nah, man. Okay, and one thing about it, if you haven't been around, you ain't gonna be able to fake it, man. And if you're not sincere, it's gonna be it's gonna be a spirit. It's gonna be on brothers, man, to see through the bullshit. We can see through these things now, man. Like you just be peeping Jake, Jake and Eve, how they move, man. It's not hard, man. Okay, because Jake thinks they so clever and crafty, and they can finesse anybody. Nah, man. All right, I want to see that a mile away. Okay, because we coming to difficult times, man. All right, and it's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna be disingenuous, man. All right, it's gonna be a lot of people. All right, as it say, for people will love only themselves and their money, they will be boastful and proud, scoffing at the Most High, disobedient to their parents and ungrateful. They will consider nothing sacred. They will be unloving and unforgiving. They will slander others and have no self-control. They will be cruel and hate what is good. Okay, and this is the spirit that's in the earth, man. It's gonna be people that Esau gonna make it seem as if we're the problem, man. As if we're the cause of everything that's happening, man. Because when things go wrong, people look for something or someone to blame. And Esau is gonna make us the easy target, man. Okay? So there's gonna be a lot of people, all right, that don't have our best interests in mind, man, that's gonna pretend as if they're good, man. Okay? See, this thing is going to another phase. Okay? It ain't gonna be cute to be an Israelite soon. You see, people are just, a lot of people are here to be an Israelite because it's trending. Niggas just want to be a part of something. All right, Eve just trying to reinvent herself because the nigga woman image, all right, is all time low. Okay, the nigga woman gimmick is up. All right, and niggas just want to be a part of something, man. All right, but when this thing goes to the next phase, man. All right, as it says, verse 4 said, they will betray their friends, be reckless, be puffed up with pride, and love pleasure rather than the Most High, man. So there's a lot of betrayal that's coming, man. You know, because of the hour of temptation is going to see who's really down, man. You know, we all gonna be tried. We all gonna be pushed, you know, to our limit, man. Okay, like through much. All right, you know, through much. What it says in what's it say? The book of Acts 4:22. And get this, and we'll end it here. Acts 14:22. Okay, because we just getting started, man. All right, let's go here. All right, this is the book of Acts, chapter 14, verse 22. It says where they strengthen the believers, they encourage them to continue in the faith, reminding them that we must suffer many hardships, okay, to enter the kingdom of the Most High, man. So there's certain hardships that we are going to have to suffer to enter into the kingdom of the Most High, man. Okay, so we got to understand we're entering into these hardships, okay, and then persecution. All right, we haven't experienced it on the scale, all right, that is going to get to, man. Okay, so like I said, we don't need any new friends on the journey, man. We're not here to meet new people, man. Okay, if we don't know you now, all right, hey, Lord will, yeah, hey, we all make it, okay. But this ain't a meet and greet thing, man. Okay, we beyond that. We way beyond that. We were never really on that like that. Okay, now we in the time, all right, hey, to tap in and lock in, all right, to Yahweh Bashim Shai, all right, be in solitude, and the Lord will, we endure, man. All right, but hey, we got hardships to come. All right, we gonna be tested. So Lord will, you brothers and you sisters edified. Till next time I say Shalom, Kwam Yashala, Abba, soon, Shalom.